Hey, rejoice. I have some clothes on this time. Um, I tried to make this video this morning, but my friend who gave me a ride to my doctor's office got here early, and so I didn't get it made. But I knew this would happen when I came home. I would be really woozy still from sedation, and but I still want to make this video because I really wanted it to go out today. And uh, just turn your speed up to like 3 times or something, and maybe it'll be more acceptable because I'm a little bit slow. You know, in a way, it's might be a good thing because I'm like so perfectly calm, and normally I have a very taut level of anxiety like all the time. Okay, so yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Oh, well, I was just going to say, I had surgery on my face last week, and I had told Judy, she had invited me to be on her Tuesday night show with Vince. So I told her, she said, "Oh, no, you don't have to come." And I said, "Oh, no, this is like an office procedure. I can come, that's no big deal." Well, it was a big deal, so I wasn't on, and I had more surgery today, and I'm also having more surgery in January. But I'm not going to talk about that because we have something more important to talk about. And that is, okay, hold on. Can you see that? This is the name of the content creator I told you about, True Crime in a Min, with no spaces. But you can also look up Leslie B. Um, I'm just flabbergasted with how good she is. Her content, like here, where I gotta find my notes. And so what I'm asking you to do is, will you please go and subscribe to her, and maybe get a family member's phone, ask them if you can put a subscription on there too. And believe me, it's not that she doesn't need my help. She doesn't need Judy's help. She is massively talented, and she's going to skyrocket. I predict it. But wouldn't it be cool if we could get her to 10,000 before Christmas? I mean, what a Christmas present. So that please help out with this. And I don't know, maybe getting your husband or other people to log in or sign up is cheating, but not really. I told my husband, I had him do this for Judy once. That's a long story, but and I even just said, sign up now. After a couple of months, if it's a pain in the butt or whatever, just unsubscribe then. But for now, do whatever you can to get Leslie to 10,000. Okay, all right. I want to tell you what I think about Leslie B. And I know this will sound a little bit dumb, but she's she's the kind of woman my ex-boyfriend always called a stunner. He would pronounce er like so instead of stunner. And she's stunningly good looking, and she reminds me of Dawn DeQuisto, because the both of them, they always have really nice hair, perfect makeup, nice clothes. And you know me, I love baggy t-shirts and my comfortable Kmart clothes. That's a line from a movie, but I don't know. Rain Man. Okay, so yeah, Dawn DeQuiso always has a really nice clothes on, accessories, whatever. She's like really well put together. That's how I'm gonna be in my next life. I know it, but um, uh, I'm sorry, Leslie B is the same. She has all those qualities also. But I will say this, Dawn strikes me more as she keeps her focus kind of serious, I think. And here is where Leslie's more like Judy, because Leslie is very comedic. She's very brilliant. She's really talented. she's like Judy. But now I want to tell you why she's like Jay. He used to go by the shaming of Jay, and then lately it's been Jay Bronius or something, and he doesn't post as much. But I can remember him maybe a year or so ago, and he too said when he wanted to give this a try, being a content creator, he found everything he needed to learn to teach himself on YouTube. And Leslie did the same thing. She didn't know all this stuff. She got a program called CapCut, I think, and watched the videos, and she just started teaching herself and practicing and getting good at it. And then she found she really loved doing it. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's like your creative outlet, or like for me, it's my obsession with the Adelson case. I love having the discussions that we do. Let's see, my husband just brought dinner home, but I want to finish this. Oh yeah, so I was just gonna say she reminded me of Jay because she completely taught herself too, like he did. And I swear this lady went from 0 to 100 like that, and she was learning to make shorts, and they were funny. And then she was starting to do lives and other videos. And okay, recently she was on Judy's show, and what I thought was it really shows how she sometimes thinks outside the box, because other people were comparing Wendy to what's her face who killed her husband. I can't think of her name. She's in Lowell. I'm sorry, it's eluding me. Anyway, like I hear people comparing Wendy to other women who, like, was it like the Daybell? Was that the one who, the suitcase murderer? But anyway, Leslie had this video she made, and she shared it on Judy's show, and it was comparing Wendy Adelson to Elizabeth Holmes. And she didn't kill her husband, so it was a little, that's why I thought it was like a little bit thinking outside the box. Although I think Judy made the point that the crime that she committed was fraud, most likely did end up in leading some people astray who may have died. So, but if you didn't follow the Elizabeth Holmes case, I didn't either, but I do just remember hearing about it in the news. And I just remember she looked young and really pretty and blonde, and it was something about fraud, and they were all saying she's definitely going to go to prison for this. And she did, like for 11 years. But what she did was kind of interesting. She claimed that she had developed new technology for studying blood, in which you only needed one tiny drop and could do everything with that. That was really good, a really good asset for law enforcement, because I know in some cases, if they have a limited amount of blood, they have to kind of be judicious what they do with it, because that sample's not going to last forever. And case in point, I remember a case. I want to say it was the Happy Face serial killer in California, but it might not have. It was a serial killer in California who I believe killed women for decades, and they couldn't find him, and I think they were really at the end of their sample, and they finally just said, okay, we're going for it. We're going to do the last test we can do. And then they got into that. I can't think of the name of it, but when you do a DNA test, like maybe on that word I can't say, an R victim, and they use an R kit, and they might get a sample of the man's DNA. Well, if that man never committed a crime, his DNA won't be in the database. So they just will keep striking out. But then they came up with this new test where they could, I'm too spaced out, but it was like a retro. It's like a going backwards with the DNA, where they'll put it out there on a site that's helping people look for their long lost biological mother or sister. They're looking for family members or whatever. They kind of just put their DNA out there. And so law enforcement can take the perpetrator's blood that they can't figure out who it is and submit it to that, and they'll go through all their records, and they usually find people who don't have a perfect match, but they have markers. They have some of the same markers as the DNA, and it's just clues. And then they investigate it from there, and they kind of can start narrowing it down till. I know one case I saw recently. They narrowed it down to a dad who had two sons, and they didn't think it was the dad, but they did DNA on the dad and one of the sons, and they weren't a match. And then the other guy refused to give his DNA, and so what the cops did is they just started tailing him, and eventually he caught with his guard down at a McDonald's and eating a lunch, making a drink, and then tossing it in the trash. As soon as he leaves, the cops are right there and collect it. And then they had his DNA, and it was a perfect match. But they found him from doing that marker, that going at it backwards. So you can imagine how lucky they were if they used up their blood to do that. They had no more. But Elizabeth Holmes, if I'm correct, she claimed that she could do all this, everything from one tiny a drop of blood. And it was a very impressive discovery. I think maybe like Forbes, is it called like Forbes? Not Forbes magazine, but they make a list of who are the top up and coming entrepreneurs. They put her on that list. And so, of course, once she had that all built up, then I think she sold the business for like a ton of money. And then whoever owned it then found out it was all fraudulent claims. It didn't work. What she was claiming, they discovered. So, but anyway, Leslie realized a lot of similarities between the two, Wendy and, I'm sorry, what's her face, Elizabeth. And it was actually just really interesting. And I think they didn't finish, and Judy and Leslie made a part 2, but I'm not positive, because when I saw what I thought was part 2 later, it had just been posted like that day, not as same as the other one. So I figured that had to be part 2, but I started watching it and it looked like part 1 to me again. So I never finished it. But Wendy's like Judy. She's brilliant. She's comedic. She's a hard worker. Oh, let me tell you, this lady works a full-time job, and then she puts in another, 40 hours over the weekend working on this different legal cases and making her content, and well, it just has like been real rewarding to her. She just loves doing it. She just kind of fell into something and gave it a try, and then not only really liked it, but she got really good at it fast. It's like she went from 0 to 100 really quick. So I'm going to be actually on her show in a few days. I'm very excited about that, and I promise you I won't be sedated. And so let's see. I didn't write that many notes down, but anyway, I just want to ask you, please go and if you haven't yet, check her out really, because if you don't, you're the one who's missing out on her content. But if you already have subscribed, can you get another family member or neighbor or somebody to just do that, just because I want her to get to this by Christmas. And I just told her, you know what, actually, if I were her, I told her I wouldn't even worry about 10K. You're going to soar right up to 20K. That's my prediction. And you guys might as well start calling me Carla Steinbeck, because my predictions have also been pretty spot on in this case. Now, I got to see, where was I? Okay, I wanted to talk about Leslie first. And then, since I still have a little bit of time, I thought I was going to make a whole separate video just answering commenters that you would see in chat. I'd say, oh, I'm going to bring this up in my next show. Oh, I'll answer that at another time. Well, I haven't done that yet, so I thought I'm not going to get through them all, but I just thought I'd say a few, okay? And I also appreciate people who correct my mistakes. I thank you. And okay, palmetto bugs. That is the correct name for those hideous big bugs I told you about. I just have a little bit of I'm stubborn. I think they're so despicable, and I think a palmetto. I think that's too pretty of a name for them. And so I just insist on calling them cockroaches because they're so disgusting. Okay. Oh, yeah. I knew that Leslie and Judy both hadn't been notified by that service. I think that's called Vine. It tells you when an inmate moved. But then I wrongly took that to the level I told you guys they didn't notify anybody. And I did get a couple people comment that they did get notified. So I shouldn't have assumed too much more about that. Okay, what else? I did want to tell you about the lady who was talking about prisons, children in prisons, and how unkind, immoral, like just that was really upsetting to her. And I don't think she was criticizing me, but she was kind of saying like, "Didn't you see the red flags?" And I realize I come across sometimes acting very straightforward, and all I'm really trying to do is keep my focus so I don't lose my train of thought, because that happens to me a lot. So I might have come across more like, there was abuse, there was this or that. And I don't know if I looked uncaring, but I care very much. And I was very horrified about that. And I was going to add a story about that I know personally about children that got put in a detention center and treated badly. But I don't want to go into that because I'm too woozy. Okay, somebody said, of course, I said how upset I got about, how angry I got about Harvey blasting the judge and calling the Markells liars. That I was so mad. And then someone said, but of course he would defend his wife. That makes sense. And so I just wanted to let you know, I agree with you totally. Of course, hopefully a man would defend his wife and vice versa, but I was upset because of Harvey's extreme disrespect towards a judge in his own court, right to his face. And then when he called the Markells liars, I saw stars and I think smoke came out of my ears. Okay, let's see, what else? Oh, yeah, I don't know if I should talk about rocking or not. Somebody asked me why I do the rocking, and I guess I can just explain that quickly. Rocking is a self-soothing behavior. They also call it stimming. And you see it a lot in people with autism. But other things cause it too. And so I probably have three things. I think I have two things that cause it and one thing that really exacerbates it, right? I have a generalized anxiety disorder. I have ADHD. If my back pain flares up, I've noticed shows I've done it when my back was painful, and it's very pronounced, the rocking, which was so embarrassing because when I was with Judy, she makes videos and then she plays them back double speed. And when I'd look at myself double speed, I was like, it was so fast. So, they say this, and it actually makes sense to me. When you have ADHD and you're having trouble focusing on something, you're like constantly being overstimulated, your nervous system. When you start rocking, it's soothing and it actually allows you to focus better on what you're doing. And that's a huge thing to me, is to focus on it and not lose my train of thought, because it's very embarrassing to me when that happens. And I'm, usually chemo brains, it goes away after 2 years, but my oncologist thinks I'm still dealing with that a little bit. So I do, and actually with ADHD, you also have trouble with focus. So did I explain that adequately? I don't know. I can tell you this. It wasn't. This has only been in the last maybe 2 years. And about a year ago, I noticed it got so pronounced. I saw it on the Live with Judy when I was playing the part of a cop, and I started eating donuts in the middle of the skit. We were with Remy. I love Remy. I miss him. Well, yeah, anyway, it was really bad, and my back pain was so flared up. So also currently, a couple weeks ago, I had a new symptom. I never had this, but I got back spasms. It's like if these are like the fibers of muscles in my back with no warning and for no apparent reason, all of a sudden it knots up really tight. Like you say, you get a Charlie horse in your leg and you can flex your foot or you can bend over and massage your leg. There wasn't anything I could do about it. It was extremely painful. I just stood still and I had to wait until it relaxed again. It reminded me a lot about the pain of your uterus contracting in childbirth. It's really painful, and then it relaxes. You get a little bit of a break before your next contraction comes along. And it was so painful, I started crying, and I remember saying to my husband, my back is trying to have a baby. But yeah, luckily that's working. That's better. I'm getting physical therapy now too. So that's helping a lot. So I guess that's enough of that stuff. I can't remember if I told you about my nose or not. Did I? Yeah, it's I had some basal cell. That's a type of skin cancer. It's not the bad one. It's melanoma. Melanoma is the one that can and will kill you. In my own circle of people I know, I've known 2 people who beat it and 3 or 4 who have died. So if I can just turn this into a little public service announcement, always go to dermatologists once a year and let them check you all over, because if you're going to have melanoma or other kinds of cancer, early detection is your best friend. You got to stay on top of it. I can't remember. Wait, was there anything else I was going to say? Oh, so anyway, I had surgery last Tuesday, and I told Judy I was supposed to be on her show that night with Vince, and I told her, oh, no problem. This is an office procedure. It's not a big deal. I'll be there. And then I didn't know this, but your nose is an extremely painful place to get injected. It's got to be like full of nerve endings. So then also, as they're cutting out layer by layer the cancer tissue, they're still cutting through blood vessels, nerve endings. So it was really, really painful afterwards. And my care instructions sheet said, take Tylenol for discomfort. Tylenol wouldn't even have touched this. I was lucky I happened to have something else on hand. It was actually Diego's old leftover from his one of his knee surgeries. So that's how I made it through the first 2 days, and then it was Tylenol worthy. But then it got really infected, and by Saturday, the whole left side of my face was swollen. My left eye was swollen shut, and I did have a lot of drainage. I had a lot of exudate. That's what I'd call it, gooey yellow stuff, and it smelled bad. So I knew it was infected. And then, doesn't everything happen on Friday night? I couldn't get a hold of my surgeon, but I'm lucky. My family doctor has walk-in hours on Saturday, so I went there, and they took one look at it and said, this is really infected, and they put me on Keflex. That's a fairly strong antibiotic. Not that strong, but I think it kind of saved me, because I just got myself on it and I took it immediately. So then I had some more skin surgery today, and then in 2 weeks I'm going to have more on my nose, because it was, well, look at this. Do you see my nostrils? I mean, not only do I have 2 of them, but I think they're kind of big. you know, when they removed all the cancer tissue, it was going to leave another hole in my nose. And you know what? I think 2 holes are more than enough. I don't want a third one. Thank you very much. But I was kind of lucky because they already did the plastic surgery on flap, the repair, but it failed because of the infection. So I'm going to have more surgery in a couple weeks, and it was not a big deal. These things actually usually tend to heal really well. So, but that's what's going on, and I'm just a little bit bummed. I wanted to prank you guys and come up with a much more interesting, like, tall tale. I was gonna say, well, I had a whole story, but I just couldn't. I don't have it in me right now. But I really want everybody to go and subscribe for Leslie and help her out. And if you, most of you I'm sure know her, but if you haven't been there and seen her, she's really worth it. Let's see. I just want to say I also been watching Moms for Justice, and I'm not positive, but I think that's the same commentator who used to have a channel called Coffee and Crime Crew, and it was at her live is where I met John Smith in the chat log. And I was talking about him to Leslie. He's a really cool person. But anyway, I'm just rambling now. I think I have said everything I wanted to say. And thank you to the person who reminded me, don't even bother with the trolls. They're just not worth it. All they want to do is cause trouble. But I decided maybe I'll just stick it in here and say what I wanted to say. And then I just got it out of the way. And we don't have to ever talk about them again. Plus, I decided I'm just going to start putting shadow bans on all of them. You know what? You know why I did it? Because I really wanted to follow Vince's advice and not ban anybody, and Patty Wilson also. But when I came back a couple of days later and I saw how many subscribers were arguing with them, trying to stick up for me, I both appreciated that, but also, you know what? I don't want to waste my time with idiots, and I don't want you to either. So that my little message that I had for them was da un largo paseo por un puente corto. Gilipollas estúpido. This is going to be kind of bad. Sácate a la vergas, pestoso mierda. That's all, and I got that off my chest. I do want to apologize to Harley because he's going to know what I said, and it's not something any of you guys want to repeat. I'll just put it that way. All right, that's it, and go, Leslie, go. 10,000 by Christmas. All right, later, guys.